This video is going to explore the difference between compound interest and annuity, particularly using the GDC or the graphic display calculator to be able to solve these with the help of the finance app. Using compound interest with the compound interest formula is explained in another video, so you can have a look at that. This is more of the practical purpose of it. So what does compound interest mean with relative to annuity? So this is taken from a website explaining just briefly what they are. So compound interest, you have the interest is earned on the interest you get in addition to the original amount. So you're taking interest on the new amount every single time. So 1 year you have 100, then you have an interest on that 100, and then your percentage is now counted on the new amount, not the old amount. So that would be compound interest. And investment can be done even on a small fund. So you start with a small fund and then you build up on this investment. And usually the questions usually involve investment. With annuity, it's a bit different. The closest or most reasonable example we could give is retirement funds. So people that earn a salary, a small percentage of their salary goes into a retirement fund every month, a small percentage. And then at the end, when they reach retirement, they get an amount given to them. So the annuity is an investment with periodic withdrawals. So another example of annuity, for example, if someone has a will, they have already an amount given to them from the beginning, and then they receive kind of a salary for a specific amount of time, regular salaries. So annuity requires a large amount of money as an initial investment. So that's just a brief overview. What I'm going to focus on is how to take out the main information from the questions and how to input them or where to input them in the calculator. I'll get to these two boxes down here in a second. You can access the Finance app on the GDC by clicking on Apps and then clicking on the first application there, which is Finance. We would typically go to the TVM solver. That's the easiest one. You can solve or find any value missing in there. If you want more specific values, you can go to the others, but it's just easier to go to the first one for any purpose, any missing values. You'll then get the following screen here with all the values, the N, I, PV, PMT, FV. I'll just briefly go through these. There are videos on the internet that explain each one in more detail. So N represents, sometimes it represents the number of years, sometimes it represents the frequency of the payments. It depends if you're doing annuity or compound interest. The I is the interest. The PV is the present value or the initial investment, whatever you're starting with. PMT is for annuity. We only use it if we're doing annuity questions. So every time a question starts with, this is the payment per month or per year, this is where it goes. FV is the future value. P per Y is payment per year, and C per Y is the compounded per year. So within a year is it compounded monthly, quarterly, and so on. This is explained in the compound interest formula, where if it's monthly, it's 12. If it's quarterly, it's 4. If it's half yearly, then it's 2, and so on. The PMT end and begin, it relates to when is the payment made? Is at the start of the period or at the end? For example, at the start of the year or at the end of the year or start of the month at the end of the month. Usually the default is just to put at the end unless the question specifies you go to beginning. So when it comes to annuity and compound interest questions, for annuity, one thing you'll keep fixed is the P per Y and the C per Y. They will remain as 1. And then with regards to what you use, you either use a present value and the payment, the PMT, or you use the PMT and the future value, depending on the question, what the question has. Either they tell you, oh, the initial value is this, then you use the present value, or they tell you someone's saving up an amount of money for a specific future value, so then you'll use future value. So you'll only either use this pair or this pair. So either the PV or the FV, one of them will always be missing from your calculation. If it's missing, you'll end up just typing in a 0 in there. For the compound interest, your PMT will always remain as 0. Your P per Y is going to be 1. And then the rest of the values you're going to use. And I'm going to explain how to get these values. The explanation for each value is going to be in a separate video, just so that the videos don't take too much time. First is going to be compound interest, second is annuity, and it's good to compare how the values or how the questions differ from each, because the questions don't clearly tell you this is compound interest and annuity. You'd have to figure it out.